My
They're
bad,
not
Jonesy.
that
My
bad.
bad.
All right, let's have some fun here. So Eloy Menace is going to join us about 30 minutes. We are ready for our next guest on FT Live, plural though, guests, 3 of them joining us. It is the Brady Bunch. No, there it is. We've never done this before. The 3 members of the cast of Sandlot joining us right now. We have Grant Gelt, Victor DeMattia, and you got to let me know if I messed that up. And you guys are not making it easy for me. Shane Obedzinski. How did I do, guys?
I think you did
That
pretty
was actually really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Well, great to have all of you on. I don't know who wants to kickstart things, but we really appreciate having you guys on here. Let us know what you guys are up to this summer. I want to start there with why the band is all coming back together 30 years later.
Thanks for having us, of course. But yeah, we're super busy this summer. We're everywhere. We're Louisville and next weekend, and that's like the biggest thing happening in Louisville maybe ever. Grant, tell them about
it. Well, the this year the Sandlot turned 30, which is crazy, I think, for all of us to hear and know. But over the last few years, Victor, Shane, and myself have been working on putting together a 501c3.
It's a nonprofit called Play Forever. It's my shirt here. And we're putting on I think you guys can see it right now. We're going to be in Louisville all weekend putting on a fundraising event at the Louisville Slugger Museum, which if you've never been there, it is fantastic.
I have a bat there. You should go check it out, man. It's in there. It has a great line, a great message on it. Swing hard in case you hit it. I learned that from Jay Buhner. But we all grew up, loving you guys as you were living our lives, especially me. Who wouldn't want to be free as a kid, just doing whatever the hell y'all want? A group of bandits, just living a life. I mean, it's hard to really put it in explain, but what have you guys been up to personally? In you guys' personal life since, obviously, in the last 30 years?
Wow. Well, a lot. I mean, it's been 30 years.
Yeah.
We, after we made the movie, a lot of us were still doing a little bit of acting and stuff, and we would see each other around in interviews and auditions and stuff like that. But a lot of us kind of lost touch with each other. I went to college and then moved back to LA after that. And I know Shane's got a pizza place that he's running. Grant is he's been kind of, I think he was doing a lot of stuff sort of behind the scenes. He got into like some agency stuff and then got into the music industry. And we all kind of just like went our separate ways and we're living our lives. And then 10 years ago for the 20th anniversary, we all got brought back together on the Sandlot, actually. And then from there, it's just been kind of nonstop. Like for the last 10 years, we've been doing a lot of conventions and sports trade shows and all kinds of like cool interviews and stuff like this together. And so we get to see each other like all the time. It's amazing. I'm still acting. But yeah, like we're all just kind of living our lives and going around making people happy with the Sandlot.
We're trying.
When you guys were kids and you did this, did you guys suck at baseball or were you awesome at baseball and you got this and you were like, yeah, let's do it?
When we got cast, we all went to like a 2-week baseball training camp kind of thing. And we kind of got okay. Benny, Mike Vitar, was extremely good. Obviously the best one of all of us. But we all kind of took a training camp and got good enough to look like we knew what we were doing. And then we started filming. And at that point, we were just unruly kids on set filming a baseball movie, having fun. At one point, we don't even know if we cared if we looked good playing baseball. We were just having fun. It was awesome.
I think that was the whole point, right? Is that we weren't out there to keep score or do anything like that. It was just the perfect time in life, especially back then. And I think that's one of the things that made the film so special, too, is that it came out in the 90s, which was also such a very special period of time to be growing up. So, playing baseball was something that kept us all together out there. But really the whole spirit of things was the camaraderie that we all had together. And that's still happening now. We get together handful of times a year, and it's almost like we get to go back to being our 12-year-old selves all over again.
I think some of our fans that are either watching now or will catch it later on demand are probably like, wait, so for the past 30 years, you guys didn't just hit the Sandlot and play ball every day? What the fuck?
Yeah,
You're breaking my heart.
Open-ended question.
In a perfect
we
world,
were,
we would have done that.
Damn
Yeah, we were
adults.
out at dinner one night years ago in DC. I think it was around the All-Star game for the 25th, and the table noticed that we were all together, and somebody came up and said, ever since we saw that film when we were kids, we just wanted to believe that you guys were still hanging out and still playing ball and still being friends. So the fact that they got to see us all sitting down having dinner kind of cemented that hope that we're all still doing the thing together.
A little wiffle ball or something at some point. These guys would love to see it. We'll broadcast it. But hey, Victor, I want to ask you, for example, you guys were talking about, hey, you went to training camp. It was just fun to be really part of a team within a movie, which is cool. Did you guys realize what you were building, like this cultural phenomenon really at the time that just captured the entire planet, grew the game of baseball, is still talked about as maybe the best baseball movie? For me, it is easy when we get asked, and that's one of the top questions that players get asked, broadcasters, etc. So did you know what you were doing, or you guys just like messing around as kids and doing a movie?
I think in a lot of ways, making a movie was kind of secondary to what we were doing. We were just out there, like Shane said, just kind of hanging out and having fun, and we just happened to be making a movie around it. And it was great. It was like being in a summer camp that just happened to be filmed the whole time. So we really didn't have a sense of what it was going to be. I think we all thought it was going to be a good movie. The script was really great. It was really fun. It was a good cast, but you're just happy to be making something that gets put out, and really, there was a time that we weren't sure for the first few weeks if the movie was ever even going to see the light of day. I know that when they first started filming, the studio was keeping a really close eye on things, and they were watching the dailies. They were watching the film every single day, just to make sure that something was being made that was going to be releasable as a film. So, for the first few weeks there, we didn't even know if the movie was ever going to come out.
And how was it working with a legend, James Earl Jones? Obviously, just a god. You guys, again, you were kids doing it, but seeing it now and seeing the movie later, like you were just in the room with the Hall of Famer. How was that?
No, James Earl Jones is incredible. I think we all got to meet him in the same way, but I'll just tell my piece. I got to walk in and he was eating soup or cereal or something. And I just remember being nervous to meet him because of obvious reasons, Darth Vader, all that stuff. And he just looked up and said, hello. And the way his voice is so powerful, it just shook the trailer. You were immediately like, oh my God, this guy is real. This is how he is. This is legit. And that was awesome. And then to go on set and get to work with him, especially at such a young age, was incredible. And that's a memory I'll never forget, dealing with someone of that, as you put it, legend. He's incredible, no doubt.
Yeah, I want to go back just for a second too, Victor, to what you were saying. So there was a time period you said where you guys didn't even know, like, is this going to be a movie, or are we just a bunch of kids out here playing Sandlot ball and they're recording us?
Yeah, it was pretty wild because, David Evans, who wrote and directed The Sandlot, also wrote Radio Flyer. And he originally was the director on that. And after, I guess, the studio didn't like what they were seeing off the bat, and he was pulled off the film, and they had Dick Donner, who directed the Lethal Weapon movies and Superman and Goonies and a million great films. They brought him on, and he ended up being the director of that film. So then David's next movie was The Sandlot, and they gave him another chance to direct, and they were keeping a very close eye on things. And so we were all very aware that, like, a couple of weeks in, they might just pull the plug and The Sandlot would never have been a film. So we were all just really happy that the movie got made. And of course, as an actor, it's everything you dream about, that like 30 years later, people are still watching it and that it still has an impact on people.
Kratzy, I wish that how they did that Beatles long doc where they just like recorded them making music for like hours and hours. I wish they did that for Sandlot, especially this part that Victor's talking about, where maybe the new guy comes in and he's like, "Let's fucking go." It's like this is not going to be a movie if you guys don't step your shit up.
There's probably that kind of footage out there somewhere. That's a whole nother movie right there. That's a great idea.
I would love to see that. I mean, because so much of the movie was us. David was young. I think he was almost 30. I think he was about 30 when he was directing it. And he was like kind of became like a older brother, father figure kind of guy to us. And he would just hang around, and we would be offset or in between takes and just goofing around with each other and making fun of each other and joking and stuff. And David would take note of all that. And then during the scenes when we were filming, he would be like just behind the camera with a bullhorn, just yelling different things out. And a lot of it was stuff that we had said to each other previously that he heard. And he would just like, say that again. Hey, say that joke when you did this or whatever. And so a lot of it was like kind of ad lib in a way, but it was like David just like feeding us things that he had heard us say before and like, hey, say that again. So it was like really organic in that way.
So you guys basically like were just living everybody's dream of what this exact movie is like, and they just captured it on film. Like I was 13 when the movie came out. Like this is like you were basically playing me, except I thought it was in California and you actually shot it in Utah. So it just as a 43-year-old now, my mind is just blown. And so what was the funniest moment that you wish would have made it in the movie that didn't make the movie? Because like Benny the Jet, I played with a dude that looked like Benny the Jet in the minor leagues. Actually, Ken Singleton, he used to be an announcer for you got to look it up sometime when you'd see it. Ken Singleton's son, Justin Singleton, we called him Benny the Jet because he looked like Benny the Jet. So your movie, we lived out in the minor leagues. So what was one of the funniest moments that didn't make it in the movie that you guys are like, remember when Victor did this? Or remember when Shane did this? He pooped his pants as we were doing, something funny.
Shane hitting Ham would have been the thing I would have loved to have seen in the movie. That would have been really funny. That happened off camera. But
now Shane has to tell the story.
Yeah. Go on.
Well, in short, when you're 10, 12-year-old kids and you're best friends, you also play like you're 10, 12-year-old kids, and you get on each other's nerves, and sometimes it gets serious and whatever. But we were picking on each other one day, and I felt like he took it too far. So I gave him a good old slug in the face. And then I remember he went and told my mom what I did. And my mom looked at him and said, "Good." It was unreal, but I wish that was on camera too, because that would have made a great story. But there's so many things we're all just being stupid that couldn't have made it into the film. The original cut had us doing the F word for a couple times, and obviously they chose not to put that in there. But I remember giggling like a 10-year-old kid getting to say the F word, and I think I even said it.
It was me and Shane. We said it. I said it, and he repeated it, and. Yep. I think because it was said twice, it would have pushed the rating of the film up, and so they cut that out, and that whole little segment got cut out. You're speaking of somebody crapping their pants, though. There was a bit that I guess they had toyed with the idea of, when they send Yaya over the fence and he's on that crane thing, and they kind of like we lower him down, and then he grabs the ball, and then we'll raise him back up, and he comes face to face with the Beast. That he was so scared by that he actually shit himself, and not like really like the character, and then he like walks away and never comes back. Like that was the end of the movie for Yaya, and they filmed it, but then I guess they decided against it, and they left him in for the rest of the movie.
Didn't they put like a bag, like a Ziploc bag of like food in his pants or something?
Mm-hmm.
So when he walked, it looked like his drawers were full. I forgot all about that.
But that's so real. But that's so real, because if you pooped your pants playing at the Sandlot, you would not come back.
Right.
You would not, like in real life. Jonesy's like, yeah, I did it one time and I didn't come back. I went to the big leagues. But you got like that's what's so authentic about the movie. And you guys, I think our producer has the picture of my teammate, and he was Benny the Jet. This is Justin Singleton. And I mean, he hasn't aged a bit. Like he's actually he looks exactly the same. He's just got huge muscles now. So if you want to know what Benny the Jet looks like, look up Justin Singleton. That's exactly what the fake Benny the Jet looks like. But
that is crazy.
That's wild. I mean,
if we get him to come out to some of these things that we're doing over the summer,
really.
And just put a Jet jersey on and stand him in the back, I don't know if anybody would know that it's not Mike based on that photo.
He would love to. I texted him this morning because you guys were coming on, and he's like, he's just outside of Philly too. So Vic, if we're, I'm just outside of Philly. So if we're in Philly, maybe we'll all come down and we'll hang out.
Definitely. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, game.
Hey, Grant, I want to ask you, so back to current life for a moment here, about really two clubs, groups, events. So can you explain both here, the Boys of Summer Baseball Club and also the tour that's going on right now? You guys have a really cool charity organization that's picking up a lot of steam, and want to make sure everyone knows about that as well.
Well, thanks for asking. Yeah, Boys of Summer Baseball Club started a few years ago. Me, Vic, some of the guys have been talking about how we can take a little bit more control over our faces and our property, being put on T-shirts and merch and stuff like that. So we've just been casually developing just sort of a front-facing property for ourselves to be able to merchandise and put out the art and type of products that we as adults now would love to see. So we've got some really cool designs that we're getting ready to put out probably in a couple weeks for pre-order. That's going to tie into what we're doing with the Play Forever project. But as far as our day-to-day efforts go, the Play Forever project is really the big focus for the three of us. As I was starting to say earlier, we are a certified 501c3 nonprofit organization, and our work is to equip young athletes and kids who are interested in a life and career in sports with the opportunities that they need to essentially be able to play forever. There's this scene in the film where Benny busts the guts out of the baseball, and it was part of a much larger plot line that got cut. But we all looked at it as an omen, and Benny says, well, unless you guys have 98 extra cents lying around, we're done playing baseball for the day. And that always got us thinking that, 98 cents for a baseball in 1962, that same baseball is close to $10 today. So when you think about the opportunity for kids across a variety of different socioeconomic areas, $10 is a blocker to do pretty much anything, let alone play or be involved in sports. And the data really shows that kids who participate in youth sports, either on the field or off the field, test better in school, have a better chance of going to college, have a better chance of earning higher incomes. And the fact that this film has been able to stay alive for 30 years, we thought, well, why don't we spend the next 30 years talking about what we can do for communities based on the love that people have for this film. So wherever we can be the most effective, we want to be. So all that's to say, we're launching our first big national fundraising initiative. This is actually the first time we're publicly talking about it as well, but we're calling it 30 for the 30th. And in celebration of the 30th anniversary of the film, we are looking to positively impact 30 communities through a combination of equipment donations, educational programs, food programs, gender inequity programs. If we can write some scholarships and grants for some travel ball, we're looking to do that as well. So it's going to be a big mission and effort for us this year. We're kicking it off 4th of July weekend in Louisville. We've got a fundraiser at the Louisville Slugger Museum and Factory where we're going to be doing a Q&A and a meet and greet and talking about some of our favorite moments from the film. July 2nd will be hosted by the Louisville Bats. AAA team there play at Louisville Slugger Field. We're going to have a suite that they're giving to us, and we're going to be offering suite upgrades. Come hang out, watch a handful of the game with us, talk baseball, talk the movie, and then there'll be a free screening of the film and a little VIP experience down on the waterfront park on July 3rd with some fireworks. And then we'll be all over the country. We're working with a handful of teams. We're working with some really great companies like Roosevelt's and Academy Sports and Outdoors. And we're really excited to be able to make this a full focus. So being able to come on the show, talk about it a little bit really means a ton to us. And we're really looking forward to making an impact wherever we can.
I think you're on mute, Jonesy.
Sorry.
There you go, bud.
I want to ask. I mean, I don't. You guys don't publicly share this, but I don't know if you have family, kids, nephew, nieces. Have you been able to share this great journey with them over the past 30 years?
Yeah, I could speak for myself and then turn it over to the other guys. But I don't have kids. My wife and I, it's been by design. And for me, Play Forever Project is really my way of being able to have the broadest impact to as many kids as possible. So I've got nieces and nephews who I love so very, very, very much, and they've been a lot of the inspiration, at least for me on this. They're all involved in sports. My nieces do gymnastics and lacrosse and basketball, and my nephew is playing baseball already, and it's been a real inspiration from my side of things. And naturally, they love the film, and whenever we can get them together with the cast and appearances and stuff, they always love it.
Yeah, that's
between
awesome.
family, friends, and just fans across America, like the film's always the central talking point wherever we go, and that's a really cool way to share something special with, of course, family and friends, but with strangers all across America. When we go do a show, sometimes we get kids of all ages and men in their 70s or 60s that come up to us and they have that story about what the film means to them. And that is extremely powerful. So the film is it's part of our lives every day, and it's given us so much. And that's kind of why we wanted to work so hard to kind of give back, because the future matters more than we do right now. So if we can help, then let's do it.
Jonesy, I know you had one more, and then I've got one more finisher. Go for it.
Hey Shane, I got to enter fat guy. Is the pizzeria good?
Well, we've been there for 13 years this August.
That's all I need.
And it's been very good to me. And the community has been, and beyond the community, has been extremely supportive, whether they want to admit it or not, with how much pizza they eat. So I'm gonna take their word for it because of the success I've had. And yeah, it's pretty damn good.
Well, I can tell you, I was just there. I was just there like maybe 2 months ago,
Right.
visiting Shane, and I stopped in there and I had the pizza and I also tried the cheesesteak, and both were really legit. Especially as a Philly guy, I can tell you the cheesesteak was legit.
Oh, thanks.
Jonesy will put it on his tour. He travels everywhere, way more than all of us. He's in freaking Europe
100%.
right now. So let's finish. Yeah, he lives in Barcelona. Fun fact. So let's finish with this. Just one of you maybe raise your hand or point to the other. Who was the most like their actual character in the movie of you three? Like who actually resembled your character in real life the most?
Wow.
I would say Victor, maybe. I mean, maybe me being the younger brother, I used to look up to Victor, and of course I still do in certain ways, but he was always so cool, and his character was just kind of cool, and that was kind of a reflection of him. So I'm going to say Vic, but I don't know.
So Vic is Timmy?
Yeah. I was actually going to say Shane, because as like the little brother, he was kind of like, he was a couple years younger than all of us. And so he was sort of like everybody's little brother on set, and he was like the little brother that was there, and he was like a couple years younger, but he was like, we still like part of the crew. But like you could tell, he was like, he looked up to all of us. So I kind of felt like he was all of our repeat.
Thanks.
That is cool. I like that. Awesome. Well, hey guys, we loved having you on. What are you saying, Jones?
I'm saying he's like the Sultan of SWAT. He's like the Sultan of SWAT.
Guys, this was awesome. It was really great to have you. We'll follow your journey this summer, and obviously let us know if we can help anything, and we'll blast it out to everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us on.
Sounds
That's
good,
awesome.
Yeah,
man. We'll grab
appreciate it.
a
It's great
cheesesteak when I'm
reminiscing.
in Philly.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
All
Tell
right.
them, Kratzy. Cheers, guys. Appreciate you. 3